The season is about to begin. Guys, it is time for the leveling guide for the Thorns Barbarian 1 to 100. In this guide, I'm going to discuss how to get to 100 as fast as possible, as well as what skills to choose along the way, what paragon points to choose after 50, as well as what gear to look out for while you're leveling up. I want to give a quick thanks to, again, the entire community for all the love and support that you've been showing. And please don't forget to hit that sub and like button. Keep showing that love so that I will continue to create content throughout this new season. I hope you guys are really enjoying all the videos so far. All the feedback and everything is fantastic. And it's really encouraging me to continue to make this stuff. So again, thank you to everybody. Now, in the background here, I started a hardcore character just to show some of the strategies that I was using. And you'll actually notice right here, I get a legendary at level 5, which is pretty nice. Helped the level grind really fast, right? So that's some of the benefits of this guide, is that you have higher chances of getting your gear nice and quick so that you can start farming everything fast and efficiently and get to 100 way faster than you did last time. This build is designed for hardcore as well. So all those players that are in the hardcore world and are looking for a build that's going to suit them, this Thorns guide is going to be key for you guys to getting to 100 and pushing to those leaderboards. This build is designed specifically for you to push efficiently without risking death. So let's get right into it, guys. Let's start going over the skills of the build. So you'll notice that we're going to have Frenzy, Flay, Challenging Shout, Rallying Cry, War Cry, and Steel Grasp, with our two-hand axe as the expertise. So the major difference between the push guide and leveling guide is that we're using Flay. This is mainly to give us 2 stacks of damage reduction, basically from level 1 if you have all of your renown finished. Otherwise, you get it very quickly by level 6. And this is huge, right? You're talking 32% damage reduction. Sorry, 24% damage reduction. Plus another 12% damage reduction. It's pretty huge, especially right off the start. Again, mainly for those hardcore players, right? And I'll go over all the stats and all the legendary aspects, but right off the bat, what's going to be necessary is the skills that you choose, right? Because we're all starting at level 1. So on this build guide, which I'm going to have linked as well, so that you can see it all easily to follow along, it has everything chosen in line here. But first you're going to get your Frenzy and your Flay. And then immediately you're going to be coming down here. And you're going to be getting Rallying Cry. Specifically, you're going to be getting Unstoppable, right? Now, if you're hardcore, this is probably the biggest thing, to make sure that you're not getting stunned. Because the worst thing is getting nice and geared up, getting stun locked by a mob and just dying before you can even hit a potion, right? So you gotta make sure you have this as an available stun break. Now, if you're hardcore, you may also want to get Fortify right away, because every time you take damage or deal damage, you are gaining Fortify, right? Which is another reason why we use Frenzy. We attack so fast when you're attacking with Rallying Cry buff, you're just racking up the Fortify. But then we're going to get 1 point into Outbursts, all right? 1 point, because base Thorns is nice to have. It actually does a substantial amount of damage, but then we're going to be going ahead and getting our Challenging Shout fully done. This is just going to give us the maximum Thorns for this, but it's also allowing us to give some more damage reduction when necessary versus elites and all. Again, especially if you're hardcore, you want to make sure you have this when engaging elites and bosses. So after we finish this Challenging Shout, we're going to want to get 1 point of Tough as Nails. And that's just so that all of our Thorns damage will put bleeding damage on all the targets. This is mainly so that when you start finding gear that has damage to bleeding affixes on it, you can equip it and you're going to actually benefit from that damage bucket. So if you are in softcore, after you get this, you're going to be going back up here to get the Fortify as Rallying Cry. But then, after we do this, we're going to get our War Cry to give us Berserking. Again, if you are hardcore, you may want to go ahead and pick up the extra Fortify right away. Otherwise, we come down here and we're going to get our Steel Grasp. So we're going to get 1 point into Steel Grasp. We're going to get 1 point to make them vulnerable and 1 point to give us Berserking. So now that we have our Steel Grasp, which is 2 charges, as well as our War Cry, we have a pretty constant uptime of Berserking. Alright. So our next point, we're going to put 1 into Hamstring. This is going to cause every mob that's being bled to be slowed. Now it's not a big slow. It's only 10%, but the benefit of that, again, is any gear that drops for you, because the yellow items are going to be very beneficial at a lower level. If you get the affix of damage to a slow target, it's going to proc off of all of your bleeding damage because all of our Thorns damage is causing bleeding. Alright, so that's why we pick up Hamstring. Next, my preference here, especially if you're going hardcore, is to get damage reduction while Berserking. This is because we basically have 100% uptime now that we have our Steel Grasp and our War Cry. So we're going to benefit fully from that by getting the damage reduction from the skills. And then we move on over to our shouts here. So I prefer to put 1 point into Booming Voice just to get started. And then I like to get Raid Leader maxed out. And that's mainly because we're not playing with damage reduction while injured. Most likely we don't have perfect gear. So I want to be able to make sure that I'm able to out-heal any damage that I'm taking. So after you take Raid Leader, I switch over to Guttural Yell. This is going to, again, be that basically curse that we're putting on enemies that's making them do 12% less damage with every shout. So that's also another reason why you may want to delay your shouts periodically. Right? Don't just spam them. So then we're going to go over to our Imposing Presence. This is going to give us more health. But then we're going mainly for more damage reduction. This is so we can start engaging those elites. So once we put 2 points into here, that's going to unlock our actual 100% uptime on Berserking, as well as the damage bonus to it. So this is going to give us a maximum duration of 10 seconds to our Berserking, so that we can start stacking Berserking duration from War Cry and Steel Grasp. After we get our ultimate, or our, what are these even called? These final skills. Once we get Unconstrained, we're coming back up to here to finish off our damage reduction from elites. Once we finish our damage reduction from elites, we're then going to finish our base Thorns damage. Because now our health pool is starting to mature. It's starting to get a little bit larger. Hopefully we're starting to find a few pieces with life on it. And this Thorns is starting to be beneficial. So we finish that out. So once we finish that out, we're going to finish the durations of our shouts so that they last the maximum. And then if you're softcore and you haven't gotten this yet, we're going to go ahead and get Fortify to our War Cry. So next we're going to go Thick Skin. This is going to be mainly again for Fortify, because now we're basically in the throes of dungeon farming. So we're going to be attacking, massive groups of elites. This new season is supposed to have a higher mob density. So this is more damage that we're going to be taking. But again, our damage is going to be a lot better because there's going to be so many more mobs. So we're going to be taking this Fortify, and we're also going to be getting our Defensive Stance to give us the additional damage reduction while we're fortified. once we finish this, then we can finish the Thorns percentage to give us maximum Thorns damage. We come back down, we finish our Pit Fighter here to give us a little bit of extra damage, but also damage reduction against all those pesky distant people that, you know, crossbows and all those things that sometimes one-shot people. We want to stop a little bit of that. Now I also like to get movement speed. And then I'm going to put my last 2 points into Steel Grasp to finish to get the cooldown to 10 seconds. So that's the skill board. And again, everything is presented right here so that you can see exactly what to do step by step. And again, if you're hardcore, the only major difference is to get abilities that give you Fortify and damage reduction a little bit faster than probably your Thorns damage and life pool. So once we are done with our level 50 or our skills of 50 points, we're mainly going to be farming dungeons, right? And during that time, we're going to be focusing on our paragon board. Now, our paragon board is looking a lot different than it did last time, as you will see here. And it is pretty straightforward. The major thing to concern yourself with is do not go off these little side quests here until you're finishing up the board. So basically we're going all up the left, we're getting our armor and life. And the thing with the glyphs here, I put the glyphs that we can benefit from the most and get the additional bonus from without having to max the glyph out. So all these glyphs actually fit in them before they become level 21. So in this one, we're again maxing out the dexterity, and then we're coming back up here to get our strength and armor. Coming up to this next paragon board, which is Decimator. So we're going for that vulnerable right away. So once we're in here, we're going right for the glyph. We're going to put Ire in here with 40 strength. We come up and down to get both rare nodes, which gives us 20 strength right off the rip, plus some vulnerable damage. So you'll start to notice a pretty substantial increase in your DPS. And then we have to finish the strength out. Once we finish the strength out, we come on down here. We do pick this up here just to get some armor and vuln damage. Again, more damage reduction is nice. And 100 armor is a lot at this point in the game. So then we come back up here. We're going to pick up this maximum life and come on over to our next board. So our next board is going to be Blood Rage. So we're going straight to the glyph. And we're putting Martial in here. This is going to give us that cooldown reduction so that we can constantly have the 100% uptime on shouts. By this time, we should also have the Bear Clan ring, I would hope. And then we're going over here to pick up strength and damage. But then we're going straight up after we finish the 40 strength requirement. We're going to pick up our health. We're going back up to a new board. We're going to the Carnage board on this one. When we get to the Berserker, we're going for duration. That's really what we're looking for. Then we're coming back straight up to the glyph. Putting Undaunted here, right? Because we're going to want that extra damage reduction to Fortify. At this point in time, we're farming Nightmare Dungeons. And we need to get that damage reduction going. And we may not have perfectly rolled items yet. So you may be able to change this out. But again, 10% damage reduction to Fortify is pretty good. So we're going to finish everything that we need for the willpower. And we're also going to pick up these rare nodes here. Coming on over, we're going up for more fortified damage reduction. We want to get more of that damage reduction because all of our damage reduction buckets we do really want above 50%. So then we're coming down, we're going to go ahead and get our life. Coming over to the next glyphs is going to be territorial. So once we finish the dexterity here, you have two options. Again, I would recommend coming down here, getting life, and then coming up here to get the additional fire resistance, max life, then coming on over for even more life, which is going to give us a tremendous amount of life. The final few points will come down at the very beginning of the paragon board, and we'll top it off with even more life. So with this new board, we should be looking at around a 27 to 28,000 health pool as far as a static health pool, which is pretty awesome. And that's not considering any of the new malignant hearts or the new aspects and what those bring to the game as well. So everything is here in the notes. It's going to show you exactly where to go to. But when we go to our gear, everything here in the gear is got everything that you want in priority when leveling. So a lot of the stuff that you're going to be getting off the start is going to be, like a blue helmet. So you're going to be looking for strength on that. Gloves, you're going to want strength. You're basically looking for strength in all stats on a lot of your early items. And then once you start to get yellow items, these are the rolls you're going to be looking at. Now, again, the first yellow items you're going to be finding are going to be a 3 rolled item, not 4 slots. So you're looking for at least 2 of the 3 to find pretty good gear to where you can start pushing really fast. So this is all here for you to look at. And then we have our aspects that we're going to be hunting for as well. Now, I have some information that I'm going to be using to level myself, and you guys are more than welcome to follow the same advice. But this is basically what I was kind of doing at the start of this video. Now, once you get to about level 25, that's when you can start to find some of these legendaries, sometimes sooner. As you saw in the video, again, I found one at level 5. But at 25, you can start really like gambling for them with obols and things like that. So big ones are going to be the damage reduction, which is the might aspect. You can also go with the iron blood for the damage reduction for bleeding, because this is a pretty common one to find early. We're going for the damage while we're berserking, right? Cause everything to bleed. We're looking for the fortify. Now this can also be when you get over maximum fury, it also generates fortify. Again, anything you kind of find while you're leveling up will work. This is just ideally what we're looking for. Ghost Walker, this is just to give this improved movement speed while leveling up. That's a huge time saver. So I always try to keep my movement speed above 160%. We're looking for Death Wish, of course, to give us more Thorns, as well as Needle Flare to give that AoE damage. And you always want those on your two-handers so that it gives you the maximum benefit of it. Of course, we'd love our berserking while you're doing that fire ring around us, the Burning Rage. Attack speed, and that's giving us that more fortified generation, keeping us tankier. Of course, we're looking for that Bear Clan. We're looking for that Bold Chieftain. And then again, the Disobedience going on the neck piece. So gems are going to be basic skill damage. You're going to be looking at damage reduction while fortified for all your gear. And then, of course, armor for your jewelry. Now, the sapphires can be changed to rubies for max life, but you're not going to really want to do that until your fortification damage reduction is pretty high. I would say at least above 40%. So that is all of these skills, paragon, and gear for the basically grind to 100. Now, when we're talking about starting off, what you saw in the videos, I basically picked up a quest, leave town, immediately go north, and I do this event. Now, there's a few ways you can do this. I'm not one to kind of abuse game mechanics or anything of that nature, but some people like to do it. So there's an event directly north of town. So once you pick up your quest, you just leave town and you can basically farm mobs there. So don't finish the event. You farm, get your levels, and then you teleport to town. Now, when you teleport to town, it basically fails that event. You get back on your mount, you run back out of town right north, and the event starts over. So you can get a lot of experience really quick. Now, you can get some really good items if you finish the event and get the resplendent chest and possibly get some really good items, right? But that's one way to farm some experience super quick right off the start. Now, if you are more like me and you kind of want to just maybe get to level 5 or something off that event, then once you're done with that, you're going to be leaving the event and going directly north. You're going to go through basically this little narrow pass, and then as soon as you do, you're getting towards the northern end of that blue circle. You just hang a right, which is east, and you're going to be turning in that quest. You basically go to the town directly to the west. You turn it in, and then there's not going to be another event directly north of that town. So I do that event, get my resplendent chest, and then I do the dungeons. Basically, you don't need to do the boss, but you can just completely clear the dungeon at this point. You already got full blues from doing the 2 events and the quest itself and killing all any elites or anything you want to do on the way. But you're basically into the dungeon grinding part. So this is already going to get you basically to level 10. Once you're there, you can go back to town. You can craft a poison resist potion or something just to give you some extra XP, and you get right back to grinding. Now, depending on the lag of server launch, this is where you're going to be starting, right? So when you leave, here's the first event. This is the event that we're going to be clearing. When you finish the event, you basically come right through here, and the quest is right here. Once we turn in the quest, we're going directly to this town. Turning in, we go directly north to this event. And then we go into our dungeon. So it's a super nice, efficient path to get everything that's done necessary. And it gets us to, you can grind Forbidden City and Mercy's Reach here all the way to, pretty high levels, level 30. And depending on the launch of the season and when you are playing, the servers may be laggy, there may be a queue time, things like that. And if that's the case, I would alternate. I would do Forbidden City, I would mount up and I would go to Mercy's Reach, I would teleport, sell, come back to my teleport, and then I would go back to Forbidden City, Mercy's Reach, and I would rinse and repeat. Now, you'll also notice there's a stronghold right here. So you can look up some videos on it if, again, that's something that you enjoy doing, is kind of abusing some game mechanics. But there's a way to do this stronghold where you basically just farm the elites in these 2 general areas, and then you log out, log back in, clear them again. And I believe this is actually the fastest way to level in the game. But again, I'm not one for that, so I'm going to go ahead and alternate my dungeons here. So, in between that time and doing those events, you were also going to get some obols. So, during one of my visits to town, I also get 2 silent keys just for any of those hidden chests that I find around towns. And then I gamble anything else to try to get any missing slots. But I do wait until I'm level 15 because getting yellow items before that is pretty difficult. So again, once you farm to basically 50 doing these dungeons, if you're the grindy type, which I definitely am. I grinded Iron Hold from 50 to 100 this original season. So I'm going to be going here to here to here to here, bouncing around till I get to 50. I'm going to be doing my capstone, and then I'm going to start into my nightmare farm and helltide farm. Basically, I'm nightmare farming until any type of helltide is up, and then I'll try to hop into that helltide and farm as many of those as possible, because I've realized how broke I am in this character. I know that I need to save a lot of my silver ore and my helltide crystals. So that is basically all there is to it. So it's not very complicated. I have it all laid out for you, nice and pretty. Now, the people that have not done their renown and have to do their quests, this doesn't help you tremendously with that, but this build is identical. Everything here will be the same. So this will help you through the storyline, doing the campaign, as well as being able to start all the new season content right away. Alright guys, well I hope you enjoyed this guide on getting to 100 in the new season. Please leave a comment and what you want to see next. And I look forward to seeing you guys all in the season playing alongside. Hopefully a few of my Barb hardcore folks will be out here. And gosh, it's been a wild 1 week ride, so I will be releasing more content after the new season starts with all the new Malignant Hearts and new aspects, more theory crafting and all that good stuff. And again, thanks for all your love and support. Hit that sub button and good luck.